Hello, and thank you so much for joining me again for this week's worm video. I am in my last week before the harvest. I did want to give them just one more week to break down everything in the bin. I am going to take 3 bins to the harvest stage next week. That's going to be both of my regular totes, one of my VermiBag totes as the last one. The reason that I'm not going to do the VermiBag Mini is just that I don't want to have too many things in motion at once. So the first 3 bins are going to go next week, and then the VermiBag Mini is going to go 2 weeks later. So what I'm doing this week is just making sure that there aren't any large pieces of food hiding anywhere, and that the consistency of the bin still feels pretty good, which it does. Now, there isn't an actual timing to when you should harvest your bin. The worms breaking down the material is what lets you know when you should harvest the bin. So I initially was trying to always harvest my bins on a 3 to 4 month schedule, but sometimes there was still a lot of material and bedding that hadn't been broken down. So a good rule of thumb is just to let your worms let you know when it is time to go ahead and harvest. So it's been probably close to 5 or 6 months since I've actually harvested my bins, following my own rule of thumb here. And the castings are not silty, they're not muddy. Again, they're exactly perfect for what I would want the castings to be. You're always going to have some material like seeds that don't break down, or if you're using shredded cardboard, some of the plastic off of it that don't always break down. So it's not, or at least in my bins, it's not always going to be just a smooth amount of finished castings at the end. But I fed these bins up, and they're set to be harvested next week. For the second of the VermiBag totes, I made sure that there weren't any worms hanging out in the newspaper. And as I said last week, I mixed all the material together. It's been about a month since the separation of the shredded cardboard to the side, so I figure that should have given them enough time to lay some cocoons and increase the population. So I'm just going to treat it as a regular bin going forward, but limiting the food. And then this bin is set up for the week. And lastly, it is the VermiBag tote. Now, with my VermiBag tote, I constantly battle the edges of the bin being very dried out and crispy. So what I'm doing this week, instead of adding any liquid to the bin, I'm going to place the food around the edges of the bin to kind of encourage the liquid to seep into around the sides, just to see. I haven't gone back to trying to do the bubble wrap around the sides, mostly because I forgot to do it, but I am going to try the bubble wrap to see if that does help out a little bit. But I'm going to feed this around the edges and then just take the material from the center and use it on the sides. I'm not going to add any new cardboard to it. And then this bin is also set up for the week. So this was just a quick update on the bins. Next week will be the harvest, and I'll settle on which ways I'm going to harvest those bins. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. Please like and subscribe. And always, thanks for watching.